one of the greatest tennis players of all time, the best clay court player in the history of tennis, a symbol of perseverance and discipline for many generations. Today, in our episode of The Hero's Journey, we'll tell the surprising story of Rafael Nadal, the man who placed Spain at the top of the tennis world. Born on June 3rd, 1986 in Manacor, Spain, from an early age Nadal showed exceptional talent for the sport, influenced by his family who had a strong sports inclination. His uncle, Miguel Angel Nadal, was a professional football player who played for Barcelona and the Spanish national team, which initially sparked Nadal's interest in football. During his childhood, Nadal divided his time between football games and tennis matches. He loved practicing both sports and had potential to turn pro in football, but over time, tennis began to prevail, partly due to another uncle, Toni Nadal, who was also his coach. Toni noticed Rafael's potential for tennis and encouraged him to focus more seriously on the sport. But behind this great champion, there's a deep story of companionship, discipline, and sacrifices. Toni became a tireless mentor who saw a special talent in his nephew, but knew that talent alone was not enough. He adopted a strict approach, sometimes even severe, because he believed that only through discipline and hard work, Rafael could reach his full potential. At 8 years old, Nadal was already winning tennis tournaments played by boys 4 years older than him. At 11 years old, when Nadal won the Spanish national under-12 title, Toni cut the celebration short by reciting the names of the previous winners. He wanted to show that out of 25 champions, only 5 became professionals. With this, Toni wanted to show Nadal that despite the victory, the path towards the dream of turning professional was still long and uncertain. He was teaching, in a firm way, a valuable lesson about humility and the ongoing need for effort. This is how Nadal kept his feet on the ground and had a promising start with various achievements and unprecedented feats, leading his family to move to Barcelona when he was just 14 years old. In the following years, Rafael participated in some international tournaments, but it was one in particular in South Africa that made him fascinated with the possibility of traveling and getting to know new places and cultures through tennis. He even won that tournament and was euphoric with everything he was experiencing at a young age. But upon arriving home, he found a torn welcome home banner made by his godmother, which was promptly removed by Toni. Instead of a party, Toni called Rafael for a training session at 9 a.m. the next day. The message was clear. Each achievement is just a step, and hard work cannot stop, regardless of victories or defeats. You don't celebrate the victories too much, and don't mourn the losses. Sebastian, Rafael's father, and Anna Maria, his mother, sometimes worried about Toni's harshness, but they also recognized the positive impact he had on Rafael's development as a player and as a person. They knew Toni was not just training an athlete, he was forging a character. Toni's methods were intense and demanding. If Nadal got distracted during training, Toni would throw balls at him to grab his attention. At the end of each session, while the other children went home, Rafael had to collect all the balls and sweep the court. If he forgot his water bottle, he had to train without hydrating under the hot Mallorca sun. Toni wanted Rafael to understand the importance of responsibility and preparation. Even suffering the harsh practices, Nadal never considered leaving his coach to accept a tennis scholarship in Barcelona. He knew that the partnership with Toni was special, and despite the strict methods, he recognized the value of his uncle's guidance. I didn't want to leave him, and I'm glad I didn't. Even though Toni was annoying me, I knew I had something good with him, because Toni was right. Often annoying, but in the long run, right. In April 23 at 16, Nadal was already in the ATP Top 100. Later that season, shortly after turning 17, he was among the world's top 50 tennis players. In 2005, Nadal showed the world that he would be one of the great tennis players on the world tour. That season, he won 11 titles, including 4 ATP Masters 1000 and his first Roland Garros. In Rafael's greatest triumphs, we clearly see the mark of Toni's influence. The titanic victory against Roger Federer at Wimbledon in 2008 and the overcoming of Daniil Medvedev at the US Open in 2019 are brilliant examples of his resilience and determination. Play each point as if it were the last, is the message that Toni always conveyed to Nadal. This advice became a mantra in Nadal's career, guiding him in moments of extreme pressure and challenging him to never give up. The longevity of Nadal's career, winning Grand Slams and competing with much younger tennis players, is a testament to the combination of mental strength and technical skill. Toni may not claim credit for all technical aspects of Rafael's game, but he proudly admits to have given his nephew the commitment to the sport, the ability to always be alert, and the determination to never give up. Toni often jokes that he had two important requirements to be a good coach for Nadal. First, I'm his uncle, and it's hard to fire a relative. The second is that I was the world's cheapest coach. Rafael Nadal won 16 of his 22 Grand Slam titles under Toni's watchful eye. In 2017, Toni decided he was tired of traveling the world and retired from the role of Rafael's coach. However, Toni's influence remains evident in every aspect of Nadal's game. Despite stories that suggest Toni was a tyrannical, demanding, and somewhat inhuman figure, this is not a fair portrait. Nadal talks about the fun and complicity in their relationship, while those who know Toni well describe a serious and straightforward man, but also kind, generous, and with a sharp sense of humor. Nadal wrote in his book that despite all the hardness with Toni, I am not one of those athletes whose life stories show overcoming dark beginnings on the way to the top. I had a fairy tale childhood and great memories. The nickname of Rafael Nadal, El Matador, or the Bull of Manacor, perfectly captures the essence of his personality and style of playing tennis that he has embodied over the years. This nickname reflects resilience, tireless energy, and relentless approach that he brings to each match. Nadal is known for his incredible ability to never give up, fighting for each point as if it were the last, which makes him one of the fiercest competitors in the history of the sport. His style of play is mainly aggressive and physical. Nadal is famous for his heavy forehand, which often involves extreme topspin, a technique that not only physically wears out his opponents, but also is very demanding for Nadal himself. He also excels in defense, capable of recovering balls that seem impossible, which makes him a formidable opponent on clay, a surface that amplifies his defensive abilities and his endurance. However, this aggressive and physically demanding style of play has had its consequences. Nadal has faced various injuries throughout his career, many of which can be attributed to the intensity with which he plays. He has suffered injuries to his knee, back, wrist, and foot, which at various times had forced him to step away from competitions to recover. Despite these challenges, his willingness to continue competing and winning demonstrate his commitment and passion for tennis. Nadal's commitment to giving his maximum in each point not only defines his legacy as one of the greatest tennis players of all time, but also inspires many athletes and fans for his warrior spirit and tireless dedication. The story of Rafael Nadal is, therefore, a testimony of how a method of tough but loving training can forge champions. Under the demanding guidance of his coach and also career mentor, Nadal not only became an extraordinary athlete, but also an example of resilience and perseverance. Despite being the king of clay, it's not only on the dirt that Nadal's victorious. He's also won all the Grand Slams, totaling 22 titles from the 4 majors. Besides the 14 victories at Roland Garros, Nadal has 2 Wimbledon titles, 4 US Opens, and 2 Australian Opens. The Spanish tennis player also made his mark in the history of the Olympic tennis tournament. He won the gold medal in singles in Beijing in 2008 and also gold in doubles in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. But beyond all the titles, Nadal holds important milestones in tennis. He was the 7th tennis player in history to win all the Grand Slams and the youngest in the Open era. With all the Grand Slams and the Olympics, Nadal became the 2nd tennis player ever to have won the career Golden Slam, the first being Andre Agassi. Rafa Nadal is also the only tennis player in the history of the sport to have won the Decade Slam, with at least 1 title from one of the 4 Grand Slams during the 10 consecutive years. In addition to being a great example of an athlete and human being for many young people, Nadal has a significant commitment to social work through his foundation, which was created in 2008. Its main objective is to help children and adolescents who are at risk of exclusion, offering them opportunities to develop their skills through sport and education. In 2016, he created the Rafa Nadal Academy, a huge place where a lot of children are living at, studying, and beginning to build their tennis careers. So tell us, did you already know the trajectory of Rafael Nadal and everything he went through to become this tennis legend? Well, if you liked this video, then leave your like to reach more people. And if you like to know inspiring stories of ordinary people who became real-life heroes, then subscribe to our channel to receive our next episode. The hero's journey ends here. Until next time.